Hey guys, today we're at Home Depot and we're going to build a 12 by 20 shed. The first thing I want to say is that our last post, we got 154,000 views, which is so incredible. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for all the comments, the likes, the shares. It's incredible. We're glad you guys are enjoying our videos. We'll definitely be making more in the future. Anyway, so now we're going to build this shed. Let's get all the material. For this shed, it's going to be a double door with 8-inch blocks, 30-year shingles. For this room, it is a 2-day shed, so we're only picking up half the material. For the paints, the customer wanted black and white. We need a 5-gallon and a 1-gallon. They also wanted 4 2x3 windows. Okay, now that everything's loaded, we're going to paint now. And now we load it onto our trailer. For this shed, we were lucky because we were able to back in our trailer, which is pretty cool. That means we don't have to carry anything from the front of the house. We can just have everything right there. So anyways, now we're doing the floor. Okay, and now we're squaring it to make sure that it's all good. And this is how it looks. The customer had said that they wanted it 5 feet from the fence, so that's what we gave it. Okay, so now we're going to put the floor on the 8-inch blocks. We always start off with one corner and then work our way around. When we're leveling, we always make sure to start from the highest side. The reason for that is because let's say we start off on the low side. We would have to bring down the other sides, which are higher, right? Which would be more work. So it's just easier for us to start on the higher side to bring everything up to that level. Okay, so this is how it looks. We always put blocks in the middle to make sure the building doesn't sink down from there. Okay, and now we're applying the plywood. This is the TNG subfloor plywood. TNG stands for tongue and groove. I really recommend them because when you push them together, they click in, which leave no gaps in the floor. Okay, so now we're going to start building the walls. I'm marking everything where it's going to be at. The door goes in the middle in the front, the windows on the side, and then there's 2 windows in the back. Once everything is marked, I expert all my stats. We always get 2x4x8s, and then I'm going to start nailing them. I know you can't see my friend cutting, but it's because he was cutting right next to the trailer so he could get all the material faster. And this is the only spot that I could put my phone in the shade so it wouldn't overheat. Sorry about that, guys. Some people were asking what's the biggest shed we've ever built, and that would be a 12 by 30 with 2 doors, 4 windows, leveled 16 inches above the ground with blocks. I will admit that one was crazy. Anyways, now we're putting on the siding from the walls. Before we put the siding, we always install the window first with caulking under it. Then the siding goes on top of the window, then caulking, and then the trim. Now that this wall is done, we can start on the second wall. We always put plywood and 2x4s around the window so that the wall that's on top of it doesn't damage it. This is the back one. I will admit this one was a lot easier because it was just 2 windows, no door opening. And then now we're going to put the plywood on. Every single stat is at 16 inches apart. It goes well with the lines on the siding, so I know exactly where to nail them. Okay, so now we're going to take a lunch break. It is sandwiches for today. Now we're back at it. I'm going to start doing the 12-foot walls now. On this part, it is my bad because I didn't move the camera. I made the walls on the floor, on the grass, on the right side, but you can still kind of see me making them. On these, they don't have anything at all. It's just completely flat, no windows, nothing at all. I will admit that it's better to build a shed with even numbers instead of prime numbers because then there's no extra pieces. So let's say you want a 12 by 12 shed, right? Each siding sheet is 4 feet long, so you need 3 sheets on each side. So yeah, always go with even numbers. I will admit that I did mess up. You're going to see why right now, because I had built the wall backwards. I was supposed to build it where we just pick it up and it's right away where it's supposed to be. But instead I built it backwards, so now you're going to see us have to carry it and turn it around because this is the back one. But throughout our whole process of making sheds, we've always made mistakes and we've always learned from them. So this does happen, guys, sometimes. But anyways, we got it down. And this is how it looks like with the walls all nailed and painted. As I said before, this is a 2-day shed, so we're done for today. We will be at the Home Depot tomorrow for the rest of the material. Okay, so this is day 2, and now we're at the Home Depot. All we need now is the roofing material, like the shingles, the plywood, the drip edge, the Z-bar. The customer said that they also wanted a ramp. Now we're back at the shed. Right now I'm applying a top plate. Someone is recording me. There's a guy that came up to us when we were loading our material. He asked if we needed a helper. So we were just hop on, bro. Anyways, while I'm nailing these top plates, my friend is cutting out the rafters. On this shed, since it is 12 feet wide, it does have to have a collar tie in the middle of the rafters. You're going to see that in a bit. After I'm done nailing the top plates, we're going to start making them. I just wanted to say that it is pretty crazy because a lot of people did hit me up for sheds after I posted that last video. Some people were from Arizona, from Florida, from Las Vegas, which is pretty crazy. But at the moment, we're not traveling to any of those locations. Sorry about that, guys. We're located in South Texas, but hopefully one day we'll be able to go out there and build your shed. So right now we're watching my friend cut the plywood that we're going to use for the rafters. There are a lot of different ways to make the rafters. Some people use what they call a ridge, or what I call an alma. But for us, it's a lot easier to nail them with pieces of plywood and then just flip them. We have made a few of our sheds with a ridge board, but that's only when the shed is at least 14 feet wide or more. And instead of using 2x4s, we use 2x6s for stronger support. So right now, I already nailed the 2x4, and then I'm measuring 12 feet. This is going to be the exact measurement for the rafters. You're going to see why. Our new friend is going to be holding the rafter while I nail the collar tie. First is with the framer, and then I nail the plywoods with a siding gun. The length of the shed was 20, so 20 divided by 2 is 10. Add 1, it's going to be 11 rafters in total. I will admit to you guys that this guy was very helpful. Okay, so we're going to continue doing the same thing, popping in the rafters between the two 2x4s, and then nailing the bottom piece over and over again until we finish. If you guys want to figure out the length of the rafters, I recommend getting a construction calculator. They sell them at Home Depot. I think they're like 30 bucks. Okay, so I'm going to cut off the extra piece of plywood that's sticking out of each rafter. After cutting each one, our new friend picks them up and puts them where they need to go. I had already marked on the wall every single 2 feet. So now I'm going to start nailing them. Okay, so now that that side is done, we're going to nail this side. I know there's a lot of trash inside the room, but those are the cardboards that were holding the windows. We put them inside the shed because we didn't want it to blow away and make a mess in the yard. Okay, so now I'm nailing 3 little 2x4s that go under the gable. And this is how the shed looks now. We definitely prefer this method instead of putting a ridge board. And this is how it looks from the outside. Some of you were asking what the Z-bar was for. Well, I'm about to show you. A Z-bar is used to prevent water from going into the shed between 2 gaps of siding. You see, I'm nailing the Z-bar on, and then I'm going to nail the siding on. Now, when it rains, the water will go straight down and not inside the shed. I know the pieces are long, but we're going to cut them with the saw once we put the plywood on the roof. The smaller pieces that we were putting on the side are the ones we had cut off from the 20-foot walls. Okay, so this is how the roof looks. It looks like it came out pretty straight. On this view, I did have to put a piece of plywood on my phone so it would have shade so it could record us putting in the plywood. I didn't notice how bad it was until I came down. I looked at it. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, as you can see, we already nailed the plywood on. Now I'm going to use the saw and I'm going to cut off the extra pieces of siding. I forgot to mention that while we were doing this, our new friend was painting the trim. After that, he started painting the wall where it needed to be painted. Next, I'm going to apply the felt paper on the roof. I do recommend putting on felt paper when you're making a shed because it does act as an extra barrier against water. Okay, so for right now, my friend's going to start preparing the trim. The trim that we use is called the Smart Side trim. I really do recommend it. Okay, so now we're going to start nailing on the gable trim. That's one side and then the other side. And then we're going to start putting the boxes. On the next video, I will most likely be showing how we make the boxes. That's one side and then there's the other side. So this is how the inside looks now with the plywood on. We make sure that there's no gaps in the roof at all for light to come through or any water. And this is how the outside looks now. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to make the door. First, I cut everything to size. After that, I spread everything out. Then I put a 2x4 under each corner, so it's easier for me to nail it. Next, I start cutting out triangles with the extra plywood that came out of the roof. Now I'm going to nail them in each corner. Next, I flip them and I apply the siding on. The siding that I'm nailing on is the same one that we had cut out at the beginning of the video from the wall. After that, I paint them and I apply the trim. Then I can start screwing on the door hinges and the handle. The screws that we use are the 2.5 exterior screws. After that, we position the door where it needs to go and nail it on with just one nail. This is a double door, so our openings are always 6 feet. Okay, so now I'm going to screw it on to the other trim that's on the wall. Once that's done, I can apply a drop rod to the second door. A drop rod helps because it keeps it closed when you only want to open one door. While I'm doing this, my friends are putting the trim that goes around the windows and painting where it needs to be painted. One thing I wasn't able to record was us doing the ramp, but if there's a ramp next time, I will record that. So this is how it came out. The customer was very happy with this one. I personally think it came out really, really good. One of the best ones we've done so far. This is the back of the room, and then this is the inside of the room. If any of you from South Texas you want a quote, just message me. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like, share, and follow.